Hello, everyone. This is Zach, your friend and realtor in the Bay Area real estate market. I have another market update for you today. At the time that I'm recording this, it is Tuesday, May 13th. The data that I have on the screen here, I have from yesterday, Monday, May 12th, and I also have the data from 1 week prior to that, May 5th, which was the Monday before yesterday. So let's take a look and see what trends occurred over the past week in the Bay Area real estate market. If you're new here, we'll quickly just go over what this table shows. So on the left-hand side, we have we have two dates, May 5th and May 12th. And under each of those dates, we have the various counties that make up the Bay Area. Now, if we look at May 12th and then we go to the right horizontally, the first column is SFH active. That stands for single family homes. These are the single family homes actively for sale right now. If we go to the right of that, we have SFH pending. These are the single family homes that are currently pending right now. So just to break it down even more, just in case, you're new to this whole thing, if a single family home is active, that means you can go on, the popular websites like Zillow, Redfin. These are going to be the homes that come up in the results, right? Now, the column to the right, pending, these are the ones that the sellers have already accepted an offer. They're in contract. It hasn't quite sold yet, but 9 out of 10 times within 30 days, it will be sold. We'll come back to the ratio column. We go to the right one more, you have C/TH active. That's condos and townhouses actively for sale. Same thing. You pull up Zillow, you pull up Redfin, those are the ones that you're going to see. And then we have C/TH pending. So condos and townhouses again, accepted an offer, but not quite sold yet. And then on to the ratio column. So both for single family home and for condos and townhouses, we have a ratio column. This is the most important column that I have, or these are the most important columns that I have on this table, right? Because they're going to give us a gauge of how competitive, how hot, how cold these individual markets are. So let's focus just on one market right now, for example purposes. Santa Clara County, single family homes. If you can see my cursor circling it here, we have a ratio of 2.0. So a ratio of 2. The closer this number is to 0, the hotter the market. The higher the number is, the cooler the market. So actually, Santa Clara County single family homes, this is the hottest market that we have in the Bay Area. And Santa Cruz County condos and townhouses with 10.5, that is the coolest market that we have in the Bay Area. So what does it mean when I say hot and cold? So hot is going to be a market that is favorable to sellers and creating a lot of competition between buyers. And on the flip side, a market that is very cool is more favorable to buyers, creating more competition between sellers, right? So in Santa Cruz County, there's 126 condos and townhouses for sale right now. And over the past week, only 12 of them accepted offers. So as a buyer, you've got a lot of options, which is going to give you more leverage, more negotiating power. On the flip side, in Santa Clara County, if you're looking for a single family home, it's good to be a seller because there's not a lot of options. There's about 1,248 options. Santa Clara County has just under 2 million people in it. So this is not a lot of single family homes for that many people, especially when, everybody and their brother would like to live in a single family home in Santa Clara County, Silicon Valley. If you're close to, guys, it comes down to location, condition, and price. That's what's going to affect the desirability of a home. So right now we're kind of talking about location. Santa Clara County is where Silicon Valley is located. So everybody, of course, wants to be located close proximity to big tech company, good schools, and Silicon Valley has those. So again, to do a quick recap, this ratio of 2.0 is a very hot market. It's the hottest market in Bay Area, very favorable to sellers, very competitive for buyers. This market is not for the faint of heart. If you are a buyer, what you can expect is going to be, so if you see a home, a single family home in Santa Clara County come on the market this week, it's not going to be on the market for long. I mean, if it is, like I said before, if it's priced right, if it's in great condition and it has a great location, it's just going to be on the market for a week. There'll be a weekend of open houses, and then a few days later they'll have an offer due date, and most likely they'll accept an offer. With that being said, during the open house weekend, there's going to be a lot of traffic, right? Now, some of those people are just, looking for fun just because they're curious, but a lot of those people are serious buyers. And one way we can kind of gauge who is serious and who's not is all of these homes that are for sale have inspections done, home inspection or property inspection, termite inspection, roof inspection. Now we can gauge how many of these buyers that came through the open house are serious based on how many of those buyers request or download those, inspections, those disclosures, and those different documents that kind of give us a better picture of the house more than we can just see with our eyes and visiting the open house. So in a hot seller's market, you're going to have busy open houses, a high number of disclosure and inspection downloads. And then next, when offer due date comes, you're going to have multiple offers. So, this really depends on the property type, location, condition, price, all those things. But just to use an example, a single family home in Cupertino by Apple in the Monte Vista School District, right? 10 to 20 offers would not be, would not surprise me. So you get the idea, what a hot seller's market looks like. And just to circle back to the cooler markets, complete opposite. So much longer days on market, 2-3 months would not be abnormal. Open houses may, you'll be lucky to have 5 groups come through each day during the open houses. If you submit an offer, or if you're the seller and you get an offer, it might be the only one. So you can kind of get an idea of the difference between a hot and a cold market, what that looks like. And overall, the Bay Area is a seller's market, but there are different pockets within the Bay Area that are more balanced and some that are just absolutely buyer's markets. But overall, by and large, the Bay Area is a seller's market. And real quick, just to analyze the data, the change that occurred from last week to this week, you can see all the red numbers that we have here. So if the number's red, that means that market heat up over the past week. If it's green, that active to pending ratio stayed the same from the prior week. And if it's blue, that market cooled off from the previous week. So you can see a lot of red here. I suspect that next week we're going to see even more red. And the reason being is, well, this past weekend we had Mother's Day. A lot of times, if you can be strategic with when to list your home, a good listing agent is going to try to work around holidays. So I think that the number of new listings that came on the market now that I'm saying it out loud, I take that back. I think a lot of this red that we see is because of that holiday, that Mother's Day. So you can see here the change in active inventory just for Santa Clara County single family homes. Over the past week, there was a decrease 2 units. And I think that's because Mother's Day was this past Sunday. So what that means is we might see just a little influx, maybe more properties than we normally would have seen come on the market this week because they were holding off. They wanted to wait for that holiday that we had. So Another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is if you watch my videos on a weekly basis, you've kind of we've been seeing a lot of blue numbers week after week, and you've heard me say how the market is much cooler than anticipated. April historically is usually a month where week after week the market heats up. We didn't see that this April. We saw the market actually cool off week after week, but I think that was due to various different factors. I mean, you had the tariffs, you had the dip that the stock market took, you had all the, whether it's true or not, or you believe it or not, there was, guys, if you watch the news, there's a lot of doom and gloom. They talk about World War III. You've got different wars going on different places, right? These things, all these things that I just mentioned, they affect consumer confidence. So I think all those things combined is what gave us the the cooling market during the month of April. But what I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but the way it looks and what I've been seeing in the market is, as I mentioned before, the dust is going to settle eventually, and that might have happened. I think maybe the dust is starting to settle. So what I mean by that is I think that dip that we saw in the market during April, I think that might have kind of reached its bottom. I think it might have bottomed out. So I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the market begin to slowly heat back up, creep back up slowly week after week. So let's do this. Let's keep an eye on the market. Like I do these videos every week. Let's just see what happens week after week. After the month of May ends, I'll do a May recap so we can see, because right now it feels like we're kind of zoomed in, right? We can only see just what this change that happened between 1 week. But when I do the May recap, we're going to see where were the active depending ratios at the end of April and where were they at the end of May. So we kind of zoom out a little bit, we can see a bigger picture, but my prediction is going to be the month of May is slowly heating back up. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you're a property owner considering selling, June could be a good time to do that. If you're a prospective buyer, depending where you are in your search, I would get out there ASAP. I would get out there as soon as possible and try to find a suitable property. Listen, if you have the means, if you have a good enough reason to buy a home, I'm not telling you to buy a home if, it doesn't make sense for you. But if you have a growing family, if you're upsizing, downsizing, if you have a life event, if you have a good reason to buy a home, and you're comfortable with the monthly payments, my recommendation would be to get out there sooner than later, because as the market starts to get back into full swing, more and more buyers are going to be entering the market, which if you're a prospective buyer, other buyers are your competition, right? So if you want to chat more about this, go to the About section on my YouTube. You'll find my phone number there. My email's there. Also, my Instagram handle is there. Feel free to reach out whatever way you're comfortable. You can even leave a comment on this video if you have any questions. Anyways, if you made it this far, I know this was a longer video than usual. I was a little bit long-winded in this video, but thank you for watching if you made it this far. And I'll be back in 1 week's time with another Bay Area real estate market update. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Have a great week, and we'll see you. Talk to you later. Take care.